Okay, moving on. So Dogecoin traveling in Turkey, altcoin market, Turkey banning Bitcoin. First, let's start off with Dogecoin. This is very, very important to understand. I've talked about this so many times in the video, how to do your own research, is sentimental analysis. This is vital. And my kind of view on Dogecoin is I do not hold it. I am not a fan of Dogecoin. I think here's the deal. Here's kind of the framework. There's no great tragedy in other people making money. If someone wins the lottery, if somebody goes out and I don't know, they're born into a family that gives them a like whatever like a basically born into like a hedge fund or something like this. They're in the situation where this is kind of luck. This is not something where you can just practice this skill. And with Dogecoin, the problem is it's very focused on sentimental analysis. And with sentimental analysis, you have to understand that taking into account like social media, different things going on in the news, people pumping it like Elon Musk, all these different things come in. So it's not looking at fundamentals, it's not looking at technicals. And this is basically what we'll be covering in that course that I've been making. The course is called Global TA. So it's Global Technical Analysis, basically breaking down technical analysis, explaining all these different tools you can use with technical analysis, and essentially how these tools can help you continually build wealth with trading, whether that's Forex, whether it's cryptocurrency, whether it's stocks. You can basically apply technical analysis to any market. So I've been building that course. It's something that a lot of people are charging like thousands and thousands of dollars for. I've noticed especially recently, and I think this information should be free. This education should be free. It should not be something you have to pay $1,000 for, and then maybe they don't actually teach you the right things. No, I'm gonna basically put it out in an 8-part series, breaking these things down, and that's just one kind of piece of the pie. Again, there could be a free course on fundamentals, a free course on technical analysis, and with Dogecoin, it really comes down, in my opinion, to technical analysis. And the reason this is so important, sentimental analysis, it doesn't come down to technical analysis, and especially the fundamentals are just thrown out the door, because you have to understand the person that built Dogecoin, the person that created Doge, he is not a developer, and he holds 23 to 25% of this. So at any point in time, he could dump the price, easily dump the price. And what you have to understand with this is when someone's holding the majority of the token and they're dumping the price, it's not just their majority. Other people see this happening and they start FOMOing out. The fear of missing out is they're not locking in the profits at these high levels. So this essentially causes a tidal wave, and it may not seem like it now in Dogecoin, but look at any speculative bubble throughout history. Look at the tulip bulb craze. Look at the seashell craze. All these different crazes throughout history have caused these massive crashes. And with Dogecoin, yes, there is opportunity, in my opinion. This is where I see the opportunity with technical analysis and trading. So if you see kind of a market hype, like let's say you're tracking something like Wall Street Bets or Elon Musk tweeting, you can trade something like this. I remember the first time Elon Musk was really talking about this, I traded it, and what ended up happening is it was like 3 trades within maybe 15 minutes. Each of them were 100% gain trades. It was ridiculous, trading it on leverage on Binance. And I set insanely tight stop losses just because I knew the sentimentals would keep this thing pushing higher. Essentially, when you see a sentimental push like that, you really have to throw fundamentals out the door. And while anything I'm trading like this is a tiny percentage of the portfolio, let's say like, I don't know, $1,000 to $10,000 is what I would be trading with, even less than that. And again, you can just really base this off rules of 10 here and understand that you can move up or down the scale as you go along. And with this, Dogecoin has this thing, and basically how I would explain it is you have Elon Musk backing this, and I highly recommend you go read Elon Musk's book, which is Ashley Vance wrote it. It's basically called Elon Musk, Tesla, SpaceX, and the Fantastic Quest for the Future. And I think one of the things to keep in mind is Elon Musk is an incredible innovator, and it's very, very important to realize that he didn't just start Tesla, he didn't just start SpaceX, he didn't just start Neuralink or the Boring Company, his current companies. He started Go2. He started X.com. He was early in currency. If you don't know what X.com was, it was basically PayPal before PayPal. And Go2 was basically Google Maps before Google Maps. And the hilarious thing in that book, if you read it, hello ODFX. By the way, at the end of the live stream, I will kind of go into comments and questions. One of the problems is I have this blue dot here. I'm not exactly sure what is going on. So anyways, with this, X.com was basically PayPal before PayPal. And he pitched top business owners. He pitched top guys in the finance industry, in the investment banking industry. And essentially, throughout his whole career, he was basically bullied. Elon Musk was bullied by the people in the car industry. People literally were going after him that were highly invested in oil and coal, things that you need for combustion engine cars. And it's the same thing that happened in the finance space with X.com. He would go, I remember in the book specifically, he would go and he picks this one guy, and the guy laughed him in the face, saying, "You will never be able to transfer money over the internet." This is what somebody said. I can't remember the exact year, but it's in that book. That's why I highly recommend it. It's in my top books list in the comments or in the description down below. I have a list on books, but you have to go get that on Elon Musk because he talks about this specifically. He's been bullied his whole career. And with X.com, that again turned into PayPal. Not a lot of people know that. But and Peter Thiel's kind of in that whole camp. Oh, hello from India. Shout out to you. Tell me, okay, by the way, what's India going through? I've been very curious with all the different countries, the different lockdown things. So since you're watching from India, I would be very interested in what's going on there. Is it insanely locked down? Are businesses open? What are people feeling? All those different things. I've actually been considering going to Sri Lanka after my time here in Turkey. I'm going to be in Armenia, then Georgia, then Ukraine, then probably shoot down to Egypt. And then on my way to kind of more Southeastern Asia, I was considering Sri Lanka because it's open. And yeah, so I'm curious what you think about that. But as I was saying, with Elon is basically what's important to understand is throughout his whole career, he's been bullied by the big guy. You could call it the central bankers. You could call it I don't know, the people with a mass amount of money. And he's kind of been the underdog. And at this point, his companies are at this level where he doesn't have to deal with this anymore. He can really move past these guys because he is the big guy, but he still fights for the small guy. And I think that's what Dogecoin really represents, which is what I love. Again, the sentimentals behind it are awesome, but you can't ignore that this, shout out to Chris Ramirez, by the way, you can't ignore the fundamentals here. You have this sentimental push for Dogecoin to be mass adoption. You know, it's gone up an insane amount. It hit 40 cents. Crazy, crazy, crazy. If it gets to $1, hey, congratulations to everyone who's making money. But again, I see the opportunity in potentially trading this. For example, if you did a 2x leverage long and held it for a long time with this, you would see incredible, incredible gains. But what you have to keep in mind is you really should study history. You should study the markets. I talked about that in this morning's daily DeFi episode, which was a bit of a long one, which is most people focus way too much on the past 24 hours and not nearly enough on the past 10,000 years. So if someone had studied these speculative manias, this is something that I'm always interested in doing just to understand markets a bit better and understand what's going on, is studying these speculative manias, because you see these throughout history. This is nothing new. Dogecoin is nothing new. Look at the tulip bulb craze. That's a great one in my opinion. At the time, people were going, wait a second, tulip bulbs are going to keep going up. It's only going up, baby. It's only going up. And I'm sure the person in the local town who was selling the tulip bulbs told them, just like there's a lot of people telling you that Dogecoin will keep rising, but eventually this thing will crash. It does not have the fundamentals. And I talk about in this video on a Dojo for Dogecoin that if Elon Musk builds a little bit of fundamentals around Doge, then it could potentially be a long-term hodl, in my opinion. And I would put a very small amount into this. But again, with these other coins and other projects, what you have to understand is these, in my opinion, have a much higher percentage chance of going up in value over time because they have the fundamentals backing them. With Dogecoin, it's just the sentimentals currently. You basically can use technical analysis to gauge when these sentimentals really take off. For example, if you're on the Bollinger Bands, this is a very, very easy indicator to use, and you touch the bottom of the Bollinger Bands and you see a bullish engulfing candle, that's a great entry position, especially if you see that with a sentimental kind of hint. So let's say there's a tweet, or let's say there's a news story around a certain thing. That's when you can kind of trade it because people will act emotionally. And when people start acting emotionally, that's when you can take advantage and act rationally. You can combine sentimental analysis with technical analysis. Ideally, you use fundamental analysis. But again, with Dogecoin, that's kind of thrown out the door. I talked about that just a couple seconds ago. Basically, with Dogecoin, the problem is the owner, the founder of Dogecoin that literally started it as a joke, he owns around 23% of it. And we don't even know that exact. That's the minimum he owns. He could own more. So with this, at any point in time, he could dump on the market. And this is very, very important to keep in mind. With Dojo for Dogecoin, you could build more fundamentals. So moving on from Dogecoin, if you have any questions with that, let me know in the comments. But I think it's important to touch on this topic with Turkey and the Bitcoin ban. So someone from Turkey commented in this morning's daily DeFi, essentially asking, is this true? What's your name? Ermine Irving, shout out to you, brother. Okay, so with the Turkey Bitcoin ban, what's important to understand is there's a lot of actual crypto companies in Turkey. When I was living in Istanbul for 2 months, there's something called CoinTrell, and this is basically a place where you can go in. It's like a brokerage account basically, or a brokerage house where you could go in, you can trade not on your phone, but actually they do it there physically for you. You know, you walk in and there's multiple people. It just looks like a bank basically. You walk in, and there's multiple people behind the desks. Uh, Seemed like a lot of cash of coins pumped. Yes, that is true. The important thing here in the crypto market, again, is I still think we're so early. And this is very, very obvious in my opinion, because really what crypto is doing is it's replacing the current system. And when you look at the current system in the market cap, if you just look at all the companies, all the banks, and then you look at cryptocurrency, we're still kind of in these primal stages. You have to understand crypto market as a whole is really still only 12 years old if you're going all the way very back to Bitcoin's very beginning. And it's very important to understand that we are in these early stages. We are not really developed. We haven't really evolved in the crypto market. We're still kind of behind the times, in my opinion. When you look at, valuing projects for what they're actually worth, looking at true, really fundamentals and then technicals, looking at white papers, looking at on-chain analysis, rather than, just throwing money into Dogecoin. But the beautiful thing here is we have the energy. If the energy is focused in the right direction with the crypto market, if it's focused in the quality projects, I truly think there's room for growth. And this kind of push towards Dogecoin, or this push in the Robinhood Wall Street Bets thing, shows you the madness of crowds. If it's pointed in the wrong direction, this is just a short-term thing. If it's pointed in the right direction, aka focusing on disrupting financial markets, focusing on replacing central banks, focusing on really decentralizing the economy, in my opinion, and giving the same abilities that the ultra high net worth individuals that were born into wealthy families have to the everyday person, really evening the playing field. Because the beautiful thing is, the people that have been kind of disenfranchised by this current system, they have the chip on the shoulder. They're ambitious, and that's what I love to see, because when they're given the same tools as these people that, again, were born into a family where, they're automatically an accredited investor because, their hedge fund or their whatever, their no, JC, you are actually not late at all. So we've had some problems in the live stream with this dot on my chin. I'm still not exactly sure what's going on here, but I hope the volume is better than the last live stream. We did our first live stream when I was in where was I? Not Izmir, Kaz in Turkey. Man, I've been in so many different little towns here in the past couple of weeks in Turkey. I did those two months in Istanbul, and then I've been just bouncing around these different towns, kind of looking at different real estate opportunities. I actually have an upcoming video because I have a bank account open in Turkey. This is something that I talk a lot about on this channel with different citizenship by investments, different residency programs, and opening bank accounts. But it's actually on the top 3 Turkish stocks in the economy, because I think the economy is so pushed down now with all these issues, with businesses not being able to open, restaurants not being able to seat people, in the Turkish lira massively declining. And so anyways, that's an upcoming video basically on the top 3 Turkish stocks. If you don't have a brokerage account in a different country, I'll actually make a video on that, how to open different brokerage accounts in foreign countries, and then also maybe offshore bank account, more videos on that. So what's important to understand is, going back to this idea that this energy that we have available, it's like this pent-up energy that's being put in the direction of, hey, screw the big guy, screw the person that's been bullying us this whole time. And that's kind of the same thing with Elon Musk. He's been over and over again, every single business he started, the traditional guys in that business, whether it's the car industry, with the oil guys or the coal guys, just bashing him. They literally put out in Dubai, in Abu Dhabi, they were so angry with Elon Musk that they actually, I'm not going to say death threats, but there was threats against him, and not a lot of people know about this. Again, it's covered in that book. It's written by Ashley Vance, incredible book. Again, go read that. But every industry, with X.com, the second company he made after GoTo was essentially the company Elon Musk made that was before Google Maps. And at that point in time, he was so early that people would literally say, why would I need any application? Why would I need electronics to find where I want to go? Why wouldn't I just ask the local person? This is how people's minds are at the beginning of an innovation shift. And this is really the beginning of this new innovation shift. With this, in my opinion, it's really a new revolution. Like, you look at the Industrial Revolution, this is the next revolution with Web 3.0, with what's coming with blockchain. This is the next one. And so many people go, wait a second, why wouldn't I just go into my local bank? It's the same thing with the maps, the Google Maps thing. Is due. Okay, that's true. It's the same thing with Google Maps. It's the same thing with X.com, where due to move. Okay, sorry. Anyways, it's the same thing with X.com, where you have this situation where X.com was in the financial space, and people said, "Why would I ever use the internet to send money?" And now we see what has gone on. This is literally Elon Musk was laughed out of a room because of X.com, laughed out of a room, and then acquired by PayPal. So again, the story is fascinating. Maybe I'll do a dedicated video just on this. When I was in Kosovo, I did a video on Elon Musk, kind of his story, when he actually became the richest man in the world, because Tesla was on such a rise, which is pretty crazy. But yeah, so the idea here is that you have to understand is these different innovations throughout history, these different really revolutions that come about are important to identify at the beginning stages. So when people are laughing at an idea, but you identify it as, okay, you really think through it. You're not just believing in cryptocurrency or in blockchain technology because someone else told you to. You actually study it. You read the white papers. I talk a lot about these projects on this channel, but you really dig into something like this because you're curious. That's something that's so important in any really revolution, is to have that curiosity factor up. If you just look at something and go, hey, that's a shitcoin, or hey, this is blah, 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 that's black and white thinking. That's a massive problem that I think a lot of people have, because you have this polarization in the current society where if someone doesn't agree with you, you automatically get angry at them and debate them. This is a massive, massive problem, and people are just arguing with people that essentially are giving them disconfirming evidence. And I talk about this in many videos, but you should seek out disconfirming evidence. I talk about this in the video on yes, I agree with that. Okay, maybe I will create a Telegram group, just because there's so many scammers in the comments of these videos that are like taking the Invest Global name and taking the profile picture and like sending comments. And I have to I hired an assistant for this channel to do some of the thumbnails and a little bit of the comment moderation, but to at least report those comments, because it's so annoying. But as I was saying, yes, Telegram group. Let me know in the chat if you would like to see that. Also, if you would like to see any topic specifically focus on throughout this video, or throughout this live stream rather, just let me know in the chat and I will check that out. But yeah, anyways, so with this, you have this problem where anyone who's providing disconfirming evidence, people immediately attack them. Once that happens, it's like fight or flight mode, like they're attacking your ego. And what's so important in investing and really in being curious is death of the ego. Remove the ego. The ego is something where it's like, in investing, it should be rational, it should be logical, it should not be emotional. And I talk about this in a video called Psychoneuroimmunology. Basically, how what you see affects your psychology and affects kind of your immune system, all these different things. And there's people that literally study these things, like neurologists study these things. And I think the problem here is you get to this polarization where you can't be open-minded enough to see the new trend, to see the next wave incoming, and to really ride the wave instead of just being smacked by the wave and crash into shore. You want to be able to ride the wave. So if somebody's seeing this new trend coming in and they're saying this will never happen, this is bullshit, you think that blockchain is the new thing, you think that cryptocurrency is the new thing, you think that decentralized finance will replace the current system, that will never happen. Well, go read the book by Ashley Vance on Elon Musk, because it shows throughout his career he's done these things. And that's again why I think with Dogecoin, this it's so strange even saying it. Even saying Dogecoin just makes me laugh. Anyways, with Elon Musk really promoting this, it's really kind of this you could call it like a representation, basically for the little guy, for the underdog, in my opinion. And will it go to $1? It can and it can't. I don't like to speak in, there's a big problem in, especially in investing, with speaking in certainties rather than speaking in probabilities, because everything is on a probabilistic scale. You don't really have certainties. There aren't really black and whites in true markets. But what you do have here is a potential to analyze these things. Again, looking at on-chain analysis, looking at fundamental analysis, looking at technical analysis and sentimental analysis. And what I was talking about at the beginning of this live stream is I recently recorded the first video on the technical analysis course, the free course that most people are charging like thousands and thousands of dollars for. I'm actually going to be putting out on this channel. The first one's around 20 minutes. It's talking about like frameworks and paradigms, moving into trading, day trading, all these different things. Technical analysis. Oh, yeah, okay. So I was just looking at the chat. With the course, basically, it's what someone would normally charge. Like people are currently charging like $2,000 for this, and I think it's ridiculous. So I'm just gonna put it out for free. Basically, every single Sunday. The first one will go live tomorrow around 3 p.m. Turkey time, and basically every Sunday I'll be putting out a new one in this course. It's gonna be an 8-part series, basically breaking down technical analysis. Again, tomorrow's basically the introduction to this course. It's called Global TA. Basically, TA stands for technical analysis. Yeah, so that's pretty much it. Moving on, we talked about Dogecoin. Now in the Turkey banning Bitcoin. So again, the problem in Turkey is you have these companies that are already set up, like CoinTrail. Go look up CoinTrail. Living in Turkey. Gobble gobble. That was for the longest time. I had made this video. I think it was like on Turkish citizenship by investment program, which I made a video today on Estonia citizenship. Or Estonia really doesn't have a citizenship by investment program, but it's a citizenship by residency. So basically, after multiple years, you can turn the residency into a naturalization. Once you get the naturalization, you can have citizenship. But when I made the video on Turkey's citizenship by investment, living in Turkey time, when I did that, somebody commented gobble gobble, and for the longest time, I'm like, wait a second, what does this mean? Because I wasn't even thinking about like Turkey. Anyways, what I was talking about is there's a massive problem in the economy in Turkey with Bolsonaro. So I've been speaking with so many locals here in Turkey, and pretty much every single one. Like I haven't spoken to one person who's been a fan of Bolsonaro. And this is a big issue because the leadership in these trying times really shines a light on what this person is all about and if they're worth it in the long term. And so many people have been pushed away from the Turkish economy because of this problem. You know, they've been open to tourists, but tourists aren't coming in because businesses are closed down. No, not a lot of people want to travel when you can't eat inside a restaurant. All you can do is take away. And yes, like I'm here in Cappadocia, and now I've met some business owners. Yes, Bolsonaro is the leader of Turkey, basically. So to JC, also let me look at this. Let me just look at the chat real quick, and then I'll redo it. Okay. So must be the like layer, low roll with a no biggie. Hello, sir. India. Okay, Adia facts. Let me know again what's going on with India. How this is kind of playing out as far as COVID in India. Let's see. Seems like a lot of crash coins pumped. Yes. Okay, that's one thing that's important to understand is it shows you how early we are in this. People are pumping up these coins that are not really worth it in the long term. They're not really fundamentally sound. Rather, they're coins that are more speculations than long-term investments, in my opinion, especially when you look at different investment sectors, because we don't just talk about cryptocurrency on the channel. We talk about many different things when you're looking at commodities, especially. I'm very interested in commodities right now. Lithium is one that's fascinating. But with cryptocurrency, since we're still so early in this market, especially when you study history, you know, this 12 years in cryptocurrency is really nothing in the grand scheme of things. So with this, we're in these early days where people are pumping up these coins that truly aren't fundamentally sound. And ideally in the next bull run, we see this movement towards these projects that have great technology built in, great basically use cases and innovation on the current financial sector that you can essentially apply to moving forward into truly innovating with a cryptocurrency. But again, now we're in the situation where you don't really have this set up. So anyways, with this, with Turkey going on and the whole economy, it's sad to see Nano pumped. What's your take on Nano? I actually told Edmund, this my friend in Kosovo. He's an awesome guy. Shout out to Edmund. He's probably not watching now, but in my time in Kosovo, I spent almost 2 months there. I was there before I went to Bosnia for skiing near Christmas, and I think we should focus mainly on cryptocurrency. Okay, I will focus a bit on cryptocurrency. But with Edmund, I recommended Nano too. It was like one of the first projects he was in. But Nano is one of these projects that had this massive rise in 2017, and it hasn't quite finished this cup and handle pattern. And essentially, you saw this, any project that's been around, at least before 2017, you saw a slow rise in this parabola and this dump back down. This was after Bitcoin hit its all-time high around that 20K level in 2017. Basically, the altcoins slowly dragged up after Bitcoin dominance dropped. And that's essentially what we'll see in this bull run, most likely. This is if you study past cryptocurrency market bull runs, this is essentially how it goes. Bitcoin pumps, it has its pullback, which is always necessary for the health of the bull run. And as it has its pullback, the dominance falls, and then altcoins rise. Okay, this, just go back and study any. Maybe I'll do an individual video on this specifically, but study every single bull run in crypto history, and this is how it works. So right when everybody thinks it's too late and everything's over, sell everything, the crypto market's crashing, then it's the altcoins rise out of this. And with this, it's the same thing with Nano. It's the same thing with these projects like BitShares or WanChain that I've been talking about that had this crazy rise in 2017. Everything else has pushed past that all-time high in 2017. Look at Ethereum, look at these top projects. Everything else has pushed past those all-time highs of 2017. Finish that cup and handle pattern. With cup and handle pattern, it's essentially when you see that crazy parabola and then you see this bottoming of the cup. And right now, for example, with Nano, it hasn't even pushed up this far. So with Nano, it truly has to finish the cup and handle pattern. And then once you finish that, then you see, that's the cup, then you see the handle. And again, that's covered in the technical analysis course that I'm, again, the first one's going live tomorrow. But with this, it's very, very important to understand these projects that really saw this massive, massive pump in 2017 will, most of them likely, if they have a great team, if they have a great, again, if they're building something with great technology, great use cases for the future of finance, in the future of blockchain, you can expect them to hit these previous highs. Now, if it's a shit project, and to be straight up honest, this is one that I'll just say, I'm not a big fan of EOS. This is one that's, I mean, they raised like billions of dollars in funding. I held it for a little bit and I sold it. Like, I sold it for a profit, but it's just one of these projects, you look at what they're doing, they're basically inactive. They're not really doing anything with their technology. They're not really doing anything with their blockchain. And it's really just negligence at a certain point. It's them kind of moving out of the market. Other people are coming in to replace them. There's other projects that are so much more innovative. Polkadot is one of my favorites. So that's why I talk about Polka Starter, Polka Bridge. There's a lot of different things in the Polkadot ecosystem that are incredible, incredible, incredible. Especially when you're looking at what are these trends from the 2017 boom that you can apply to this 2020 to 2021 crypto bull run? Well, in my opinion, it's taking this idea of ICOs, this initial coin offerings, and putting them into things like essentially incubators, or you can think of them as launch pads. So I've talked about TrustSwap, I've talked about Duck.Dime, I've talked about Binance Smart Chain Pad. All these different essentially launch pads help you get in early on crypto projects. So helping you, just like in the let's say the traditional market, you have public companies. For example, Elon Musk, you can buy Tesla. But when you have private companies, you can't invest in Elon Musk's SpaceX. So if you want to get into SpaceX early, one sec. Okay, so if you want to get into SpaceX early, you have to be a private investor. You have to be an accredited investor. And that's why I was talking about at the beginning of this video. This is what crypto really revolutionizes, is anyone who's born into these families where they have a trust fund and they're automatically an accredited investor just because, let's say, so to be an accredited investor, just for anyone who doesn't understand, and then we'll move back onto the crypto markets, is you essentially have to have $1 million in net worth. So with this, you could know zero about investing. You could literally be like know nothing about investing, be doing Coke, Molly, and drinking every single night, and be an accredited investor. This is a massive, massive, massive problem. And I think this is going to change. There's a lot of shifts going on in the markets. I think education is going to change. Healthcare is going to change. I think the future of tech education is massive. The future of tech healthcare is massive. These industries are going to change, and especially finance. Finance has really, really disenfranchised so many people throughout history. This is why I highly recommend, again, studying history and looking at past market cycles, not just looking at what's going on now, but really looking at, okay, what has gone on throughout history? That's, in my opinion, what's most important. So let's see. With some of these comments. Okay, looking forward to your TA course. Well, that would be fantastic. Yeah, okay, so definitely go watch that one tomorrow. It'll be the introduction on the free technical analysis course, Global TA. So now that you're traveling in Europe, you can use Binance. Okay, so here's the deal with Binance. To be 100% straight up, I use different VPNs. I use ExpressVPN. I actually have multiple accounts on multiple VPN services, just in case there's a problem with one. I like to, this is kind of like a framework that I apply to a lot of things, but it's belts and suspenders. So not having one single point of failure. So for example, let's say you just have one bank account or you only use one exchange. That's a single point of failure. You can apply something like Six Sigma, which is what pilots use. It's essentially, go look up Six Sigma if you don't understand it. Maybe that's for a whole nother video. But to kind of dumb it down a little bit, with belt and suspenders, or simplify, I don't mean dumb it down at all. With belt and suspenders, essentially you're removing that single point of failure. So you're mitigating risk by having more options. And this is why I have multiple accounts on pretty much everything. For example, with YouTube, with these videos, I enjoy talking about all these things. I see it in the long-term aspect. So with YouTube, I use something like the library or Voyager. So all my videos get automatically published on there. So just in case YouTube starts to ban, I don't know, investment channels or different things like this, I have this. So this is essentially the belt and suspenders approach to mitigate risk. It's the same thing with banking. Let's say you have one bank account. Study history. If you're just looking at the past 10 years and you go, oh, my bank account's safe, or oh, my cryptocurrency is safe on this one exchange because everybody's been using it for the past, I don't know, like maybe a couple of months. Well, study history, zoom out. So many people are so focused on the past 24 hours and don't zoom in to the past 10,000 years. This is what's so important to understand. And again, so back to the point with Binance, this is why I use multiple VPNs. Not only do I have a VPN, a NordVPN, ExpressVPN, and like, I can't remember the third one. I actually recently got that one just in case. But I pay for things if I think that they're helpful. So ideally, you mitigate risk by having at least two of something. But then the more you add, it's better. So for bank accounts, it's great to have at least multiple bank accounts in your home countries. Let's say you're in Australia or Canada or the US. These countries where taxes are going ballistic. It's ridiculous what's going on in the US. It's ridiculous what's going on in Canada. It's ridiculous what's going on in Australia. Because these countries, to be 100% honest, are failing. Look at the global landscape. People don't have to live in their location. You don't have to live in your home country. The cage doors are open. This is what so many people don't understand. You can live anywhere in the world and do what you do. And especially this trend has been so pushed forward because of what's been going on with let's call it the Cervesa Sickness. That's what I like to call it, is the Cervesa Sickness. But this has just pushed these trends so much more further, truly, because you have things like work from home. You have things like instead of going into an office, people are meeting on Zoom. And it's very important to understand that these trends just keep getting pushed forward because this Cerveza Sickness is just kind of shining the light on something that has been in the darkness for so long, which is how the economy truly works. You don't have to be in one location. You can be location independent, and this is huge. So basically, the point here is these countries with massive taxes, they're keeping increasing taxes like Australia, Canada, and the US. The US has a global income tax. This is why I talk about citizenship by investment programs or residency programs. I highly recommend you at least have one of these things. So at least one second passport or at least one second residency. A great one just to get your feet wet at least is setting up a second residency in Panama. Panama is a great country for second residency. If you're in the US or you're in Canada, you can easily pop down to Panama, set up a second residency. Maybe I'll make a video on this if you don't understand it currently, but I've been talking a lot about this on this channel, and I'll start talking about these things more and more because you have to understand this crypto bull run will not last forever. Yes, I'm highly focused on the crypto market right now, but that's why I also talk about things to diversify into, like commodities, different capital markets, especially real estate is huge. And that's why I think I'll be making more videos on. So I have not been to Romania. That was one of the only countries kind of in that Balkan region that I was not able to go to, sadly. I was able to go to, Serbia, Albania, Montenegro, Bosnia, Kosovo, North Macedonia. The majority of those, I've been to Croatia, the majority of those countries there. But as far as Romania goes, not Georgia. I'll actually be in May. I'll probably spend about a week or maybe two more here in Turkey, and then going to Armenia. Yes, okay, so second residencies is very important, but Panama is one. There's many different countries. I'll probably make a video on actually the maybe top 5 or top 3 easiest second residencies just in the global economy, because you have to understand these countries really are starting to look at this as a business. They're starting to say, okay, we want the best to come into our country. If you're someone who's going to start a business here, if you're someone who's going to actually have money in a bank account here or help the local economy, spend at restaurants, these different things, countries are going to want you to come in. It's really a capital market. It's not this kind of way that we even think about it as, oh, just because you were born in this country that you didn't even choose, by the way. So many people are like, oh, I'm born in this country, so I'll just stay here my whole life. I know so many people in the US, it's sad to see, that have never not only been out of their own country, but their own town. I mean, this is insane. This is mind-blowing to me because this is the one time throughout history where we're able to do this. Let's say 200 years ago, let's go 500 years ago. A king did not have the same independence that you have now. He did not have the same location independence because there were not the same abilities that we have now. You can go on your phone and tomorrow you can have a flight. Boom. You can be here in Turkey tomorrow if you want. Seriously. Would a king 500 years ago have these same abilities? No. And this is one of those things that I think so many people don't take advantage of. And I think it's important to go, okay, not only is this, you're able to do this, but it's truly your right. You know, if you're, let's zoom out 40 years from now, or I don't know, 50 years from now, and your grandkid asks you, hey, why didn't you travel more? You know, you were able to do this, but great grandpa or great 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 grandpa wasn't able to travel. What are you going to say? Seriously, because this is the one time in history where you are able to do this. You have this independence, and especially now, this is just ramped this thing up. And anyway, sorry, I kind of went off on a little tangent there. We'll get back to things. So let me see. Yeah, so essentially traveling Europe with Binance. I use a VPN for Binance, and there's many different ways to do this with many different platforms. If you're interested in one specifically and you're in a specific country, let me know as I'd be helping you out. Let's see, best way to become a millionaire is to get a job with SpaceX with stock, even pushing a broom. Okay, that, I mean, I don't knock that. I think SpaceX is such an innovative company. I've been lucky enough to invest a little bit in their private rounds. Maybe I'll talk about that. I would maybe talk about things like this in a private group or something like that, because I can't necessarily talk about it in public. Yeah, it's part of these things where I want people to be able to invest in this that are not accredited investors, and it's vital that we're able to implement this, so people down the road can invest in private companies. And again, with cryptocurrency, you can essentially do this with launch pads. That's why, again, Polkastarter, TrustSwap, Binance SmartPad, DuckDuckDime, many others we talk about on this channel, they basically allow you to be a private investor if you hold enough of that token, especially if you've gotten early on that token. So let's see, Warhorse stock bust. The entire magic industry is getting behind Dogecoin today. Magic the Gathering. Hey, Magic the Gathering, I love it. So, okay, let me know. Warhorse stock bust. Let me know if you're talking about Magic the Gathering. Yes. Okay. Ikra AK. Shout out to you, Ikra AK, by the way. You were on the last live stream where it was kind of a practice one. Again, anyone who's just tuning in, I apologize for this blue dot. I think the volume's better in this live stream, but I'm still not. there's some problem with this blue dot and where it's a conspiracy in this live stream. I'm still not sure exactly what's going on. But anyways, yeah, let me know if you're talking about Magic the Gathering. But anyways, this is interesting getting into Dogecoin. They're prophesizing $2 by Monday. Again, this is the opportunity I see with Dogecoin, is trading it. Personally, it is not a long-term hodl, because I look at things from fundamental perspective, technical, sentimental, and also on-chain analysis. And again, anyone who's tuning in, we have the first video in the technical analysis course, the free one, going live tomorrow. But with Dogecoin, the reason it's not a long-term hold is because the fundamentals just are not there. It's lacking the fundamentals. But as far as sentimentals, yes, it has that nice pump. And then if you combine this with technical analysis, you can trade it. So for example, if you would have done a 2x leverage on Dogecoin, let's just say a week ago, this would have been an incredible opportunity, because you could have set a very nice tight stop loss and looked at the sentimental analysis and saw, okay, we see these stimulus checks. We see all these things going on in the markets. We see Elon Musk pumping the crap out of this. That's a trade that you could do. So again, with a stop loss, that's a beautiful thing about technical analysis. You can really mitigate risk. So you can set a stop loss as tight as you want it. So let's say you're trading with $1,000, like trading with a small amount of money, and you're using 10x leverage. Well, let's say Dogecoin pumps up 100%, which is small. It pumped way more than 100%. I can't remember even at the peak. Let me know if you know. He dogged out of Dogecoin on his channel. Yes. So anyways, let me know if you know the exact percentage gain, but it went up to 40 cents basically, which is insane. I mean, if this thing gets to $1, again, congratulations. In my opinion, there's no great tragedy in other people making money. This is great, but I really see it as opportunity cost. I'm not looking to make short-term money. I'm looking to invest in things that I believe in fundamentally. I also have a portfolio for some short-term trading, but again, each of these things are kind of in their own basket, in my opinion. You should not just look at this and go, this person made money, gosh darn it, I miss out on this investment. Because look at history. Again, as I talked about at the beginning of this video, if you have this mentality, it's the same thing as going, this person won the lottery, I didn't win the lottery. That's a terrible way of thinking. I mean, what are you doing? For long-term views on markets, capital markets, what we talk about on this channel, this is really, eliminate that way of thinking is really the first thing you should do. So anyways, again, with Dogecoin, the point is if you would have done, let's say, 10x leverage with $1,000, you're trading with $10,000, you're only risking $1,000, because if you get liquidated, you would lose $1,000. But let's say you set that stop loss to 0.01%. Literally, the stop loss is right here. So if it goes down, you're automatically exited out of the trade. The most you lose is, let's say, $1 to $10, okay? So with this, you're minimizing the downside, but maximizing the upside. Because let's say you get that 100% pump. Well, what did you just make there? You risk $1,000. You're trading with $10,000. Yes, I have. Okay, one sec. Once I finish the topic, I'll get to more of the comments. But I was actually at Ephesus, and I'm considering going to Göbekli Tepe. Actually, met this guy on my way here from the hotel in I flew in to the main town. I still can't remember the names. I'm sorry that there's so much with traveling. Is like I've been popping around to these different towns in southern Turkey. So some of the names I'm not the best with, but I've been in Kaz, I've been in Izmir, been in Ephesus, Cappadocia, a lot of other ones that again I can't remember the name off the top of my head, just because I've been thinking about so many different things today. Anyways, with the Dogecoin thing, I'll wrap this up. If you could trade on 10x leverage with that $1,000, you're essentially controlling $10,000, and let's say you have that 100% that Dogecoin pump, and you exit out of that trade. You exit out of it at let's just say that 100%, or you set a trailing stop loss. So essentially, a trailing stop loss. Let's say price is consolidating in here. As long as you set the trailing stop loss towards the upwards, you can essentially continue in this trade with no risk, because as soon as it hits this moving stop loss, you're pulled out of that trade automatically, and that's the beauty, because when you have a trailing stop loss, you can do things like travel, you can do more things like this. But yeah, anyways, that's all part of the technical analysis course. Let me get back to the comments. Let's see. People in the U.S. are brainwashed to think that they're at its best in the world. Yeah, that is very true. It's one of these things where it's like, that's why I like Andrew Henderson. He talks about go where you're treated best, which I think is one of those things. Like he copyrighted this, but I think go where you're treated best is not something that should be copyrighted. I think that's what everyone should do. You know, if you're in a situation that you don't enjoy, if you're not in a situation where people are treating you the best way possible, if they're not treating you like a human being, if they're not treating you like an asset, truly, that's what it is. Because we live in this capitalist society, and with this, whether you like it or not, you have the free market. So if someone doesn't enjoy a country, why bash them? You should be happy for them that they're going where they're treated best. And ideally, you have multiple citizenships in multiple different countries and multiple different, essentially, home bases. So if there's a problem in one country, hey, you can go over to another country. There's really no issues here. And again, I think that's so important. These kind of name brand countries like the United States, oh, it's amazing. Like France, man, I didn't even enjoy France. I was in Paris. I went to the nicest restaurants. The waiters, frankly, now again, if you enjoy France, props to you. But I mean, the waiters are rude in France. Like, for example, in France, you don't tip, obviously, and so the waiters are kind of entitled. Or, for example, like I would walk around the streets in Paris, and it literally smelled like urine, because you have to pay everywhere to go to the restroom. So if someone's homeless, they don't want to pay, so they're kind of incentivizing people to pee on the streets. Now I know this is kind of like a weird topic, but also Biarritz, one of the most wealthiest areas in all of France. I kind of enjoy Biarritz, I'm not gonna lie there. But just again, these name brand countries, like the US, like Canada, like Australia, that for so long people have been going, oh, this thought in our head, this is the best place to be. Man, have you been to Turkey? Have you been to Kosovo? Have you been to Albania? These places are incredible. And especially places in Southeastern Asia, which, again, I'll be talking about more of these things with more real estate videos moving forward. But in my opinion, there's really going to be this massive shift. And you see this with emerging markets. Typically, emerging markets have certain bull runs. I plan to be very, very heavily involved in the next emerging market bull run, just like I've kind of caught this crypto bull run really at the very, very start, which was very nice. You know, I was fortunate to get into Bitcoin very early. I'll just say that. And a lot of these projects very early, so I've enjoyed a lot of profits there. But what's important is, in my opinion, it's not necessarily about the profits. It's about building these long-term things, because you can have profits and still not truly enjoy yourself. Let's say you have profits, but you're in a state like California where they're taxing you at an insane rate, and you're not able to enjoy the wealth that you've built. You're not able to enjoy this kind of freedom that wealth should give you. This is why you should go where you're treated best. This is why you should live in a country, or at least explore a country and see if you would enjoy it. For example, I didn't know if I would enjoy Turkey, but I loved Istanbul. I would live in Istanbul. I would probably invest in real estate in Istanbul. I toured a lot of properties in Istanbul. Again, I've been considering doing more real estate videos, but it's kind of hard, again, because when I tour essentially a property in a different country, typically I'm just doing this by myself, and I'm very, very focused when I'm doing this. I'm not thinking about YouTube or these different things. I kind of do this channel. It's kind of turned into something a lot bigger than I was initially focusing on. It initially just kind of started out for fun. These are things that I'm interested in, just like somebody watches Netflix or somebody watches sports. I'm interested in capital markets. I'm interested in investing. I'm interested in these kind of different innovations. I've always been curious about these things. And so I started kind of this channel for fun, and now it's turned into something a little bit bigger. So it's cool, almost at 4,000 subscribers. I didn't even know if we would hit 100 subscribers. I would have been content at 100 subscribers. So shout out to anyone who's followed along. Let's see. It sounds like you'll need to steer clear of Eastern Ukraine. Okay, yeah. So Ukraine, I actually know someone who's living there now and recently bought a property there. And where particular in Eastern Ukraine? I'm curious because Ukraine is very interesting. I'll definitely check out Kharkiv and a couple other cities there. But okay, you're correct. Okay, top 5 second residencies would be very interesting. In Germany, we have the highest taxes in the world after Belgium. I know Belgium's insane. I met someone from Belgium, and I was talking to them actually a long time about this. But I mean, the tax market's ridiculous. In my opinion, over the next 10 years, what we're going to see is countries essentially competing. And when you're lowering taxes, you're incentivizing people to come in. When you're raising taxes, you're really pushing people out. And in the United States, again, in these name brand countries, people have felt like they've been trapped there because they feel like, oh, my work is here, my office is here, my business is here. But now we've opened up. We've really eliminated borders. And this is the beautiful thing about cryptocurrency is you have the shift towards something it's more focused on, I guess, on decentralization, like all these different things. Decentralization, you could put this many different ways. Anyways, okay, I'm going to finish up with these comments. If you have any topics you'd like me to cover, let me know in this last minute. I'm here in this crazy cave hotel. It's like the nicest in this hotel. It's pretty ridiculous. But anyways, if you want to see a quick tour at the end of this video, maybe I'll do that of this hotel because it's literally like in these caves. If you look up Cappadocia, it's ridiculous. It's like these chimney caves that have been around for like thousands and thousands of years. And yeah, so anyways, let me go here. Starlink is supposed to be to IPO, but not sure when. Yeah, Starlink would be very, very interesting to get into, in my opinion. Just like SpaceX, just like Neuralink, I'm very interested with Elon Musk companies. Again, I'm a big fan, as you can tell, especially after reading that book. I love reading autobiographies, especially on very innovative people like Elon Musk. But not just people like in this current industry, but looking at people throughout history. For example, read the book on Rockefeller. Yes, it's like 600 pages. But again, those books that I recommend are linked down below in the description. Let me see. Okay, Charles Hoskinson dogged out of Dogecoin on his channel yesterday. Okay, Irvine, could you link that video? Because I actually like Charles Hoskinson. I'm not exactly sure what you mean. I think it's hilarious because something like Cardano is so fundamentally sound. Like they've been working so hard on building these peer-reviewed papers, on really building the technology with Cardano, with ADA. And it's been slowly climbing. But then you see something like Dogecoin that has no peer-reviewed papers. It's literally started as a joke. Zero of any of these things that Cardano has built, but they just blow them out of the water. I mean, it's in the top 5 cryptocurrencies. This to me again is insane. And I keep repeating this. It shows how early we are in this industry. If one of the top companies in let's go back to 1950 and go, okay, if one of the top companies in 1950 was purely a joke, it was just a clown. Like literally a clown with makeup and these different things. And this one individual was worth $24 billion. I mean, you see this crazy speculative mania. And now, again, I'm not saying there's no money to be made in, yes, no. Yes, I know Charles Hoskin has a channel, but what do you specifically mean with he dogged out on Dogecoin on his channel yesterday? Like, do you mean he sold it? Like he bought it and sold it? Because I used to watch some of his videos, but I've just been so busy that I haven't been able to keep up with Charles. I hope they release the fully finished version of Cardano. That's what I'm waiting for. I have a very large position in Cardano. I've been averaging in for a long time, over the past 2 years really. I haven't bought in the past couple of months, but yeah. Anyways, moving on. Let me see. So as I was saying with Dogecoin, yeah, it shows how early we are in this industry. Crypto still, like, if you have any exposure in the crypto industry and your time horizon is at least 5 years, I'll just say this, you're going to have a very, very nice appreciation on your gain. Now, if you only have $10 in, it might not be that nice appreciation, but you can again multiply these things up by 10 and just kind of see, okay, if you have $100 in, $10,000 in, 100,000, a million, and you're seeing these 100% gains on the daily, and something that literally started as a joke, again, as a joke, and the founder of Dogecoin, who's not a developer, has 23% of the total supply. This is insane, and it shows that if this energy put into something like Dogecoin can be put in the right direction, it can truly explode these projects that are fundamentally sound like Cardano. So I think this is very interesting, and again, if Elon Musk backs some cryptocurrencies that truly have use cases, we'll go. Okay, so sorry about this. Okay, so let's see. Do you have any Greek runes? Charles Huskinson. So how do spot bots accumulation in crypto? So kind of define what you mean there. Okay, he said it in the next comment, but have you seen Greek ruins? Yes. Okay, so Cappadocia has incredible Greek ruins. Ephesus, which has one of the 7 ancient wonders of the world. It was beautiful. The Temple of Artemis. I really loved it. I was considering doing a video there, but it's just too much. Like I was just enjoying it too much in the moment, honestly. Like usually this place is packed with tourists, but Ephesus was beautiful. It's these crazy great ancient ruins. And to be 100% honest, this is kind of I'll only talk about it in this live stream because it's technically a little bit illegal, but I purchased these coins from this guy who has been living in Ephesus for over 40 years. And he goes around with a metal detector and he finds these ancient Greek coins. Like I literally purchased it, it's 3. And again, don't maybe I shouldn't share this on live stream, but it's like these ancient coins from Greece. Like you have to understand, this civilization was over 3,000 years old. And it's these ancient Greek coins that are ridiculous, and they're authentic. This is the crazy part. These are literally things that you would find in a museum, and I have them with me while traveling. Now, who knows if I'll be able to cross the border with them, but I couldn't. This was an opportunity where, like, it's not like this guy has a shop and he's selling these. I met this guy through another guy who has been living in Ephesus for 30 years, who, like, makes handmade rugs. And with this, he introduced me to this other guy. This other guy picked me up in this car, and we went over in this area, literally away from everyone, because this is completely legal. Like, he's literally been finding these coins with a metal detector, and they're ancient Greek coins, like made out of silver. For example, one I have is from Alexander the Great. Maybe I don't want to do a dedicated video on this, but maybe the next live stream at the very end, like this one, so I'm only going to go on for maybe like 10 more minutes here. I'll share this because anyone who's rewatching the live stream, they'd have to make it through like an hour of video just to see this. But yeah, anyways, these coins are ridiculous. To be straight up honest, they're going for like thousands and thousands of dollars. And I was able to authenticate them and basically identified that these are ancient Greek coins that are like over 2,000 years old. 2 of them are silver, 1 of them is copper, but yeah, absolutely ridiculous. Just beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. And you can see, like, when he finds these coins with this metal detector, you can see, like, you basically rub them with lemon because they've been underground for so long. And yeah, so back to the point. Sorry, I kind of went off a tangent there just because it's so interesting. But Ephesus was absolutely beautiful. This is like a 3,000-year-old civilization. They had the Temple of Artemis, all these different things, lots of legends there, but also lots of genuine history. You can look up Ephesus. I recorded a little bit of things there. Maybe I can put out a video on that. But yeah, it was just, they also have the Library of Celsius, just insane. I mean, I loved it. I had so much fun there. I absolutely love Turkey overall. Ephesus was beautiful. Oh, we want a video on the metal detector guy. Okay, one second. Let me go back up here. Wow, there's a lot to go through. Let me see. Okay, how to spot bot accumulation going on at crypto. I had the intuition about before. Okay, so this is something that's very, very important with bot accumulation, especially when a cryptocurrency gets put on an exchange. Like, let's say it gets put on Uniswap. Today, for example, a project called Shisha Finance, which is backed by a Dubai Sheik, basically, which is something I actually participated in. You could get in with it on PancakeSwap. But for example, a lot of these beginning ones, when they get put on an exchange and they announce it, let's say on their Twitter or something like this, it gets pumped up crazily because bots pump it up, especially in Uniswap. But if you can get in before this, you can have this nice pump up. You can sell, like, let's say you sell 40% of it there. You see this nice push down because that's when the bots are pumping something up. Eventually it hits that peak where they can't really have any more price impacts because you have a fixed supply. So once that top is hit, that's ideally when you sell. And the way to do that is on-chain analysis. You can use technical analysis as well when you see it's so far pushed off a moving average or a Bollinger Band. But when you combine this with, okay, first of all, you should have fundamentally you agree with this project or you have a thesis around this. That's really what sentimental and fundamental analysis are about, is talking about building a thesis and identifying a narrative. For example, Dogecoin, the narrative is Elon Musk is pumping this coin, and that's with sentimental analysis. There's not many more steps you can think there. But with something like, for example, UDT, Unlock Protocol, it's something I've been talking about a lot. It has the fundamentals, it has the sentimentals. Forbes is using Unlock Protocol. This is something that I'm holding for the long term. I have a lot invested in UDT. I think this coin is massive. Coinbase Ventures backed it. Again, Forbes is using this. Giant companies that I'm not necessarily going to disclose in this video are using Unlock Protocol because it's fully decentralized. Think about all these products, all these things that people are paying for subscriptions. Think about Netflix, think about Hulu, think about these massive things, like even things like Wall Street Journal, where people pay monthly to use something like this. This is what Unlock Protocol is tapping into, this market. But all these companies are using something that's centralized, where the centralized thing takes a cut. Look at Patreon, look at even something like Airbnb. Any of these things that are using payment networks, the middleman takes a cut. Unlock Protocol evens it out. And the middleman isn't there to take that cut. So that's the beauty there. But sorry, with the bots pumping something, essentially this is on-chain analysis. That's how you look at that. You can look at things like, you can look at different things like Newpol and different things like this. Irving, cool, California wants to tax you for up to 10 years. Yeah, that's insane. Retroactive taxing is ridiculous. This is why people will move out of these. This is why this capital market is very important, because it's pushing these countries, not companies, but countries out of the playing field in the next, at least the US and these traditional brand names, in the next 25 to 40 years. Now, again, with these things with countries, it takes a lot of movement because they're like giant barge ships. Whereas something like, for example, Dominica, I did a video on the Dominica Investor Visa. And you can essentially get a residency in Dominica and turn that into a citizenship, which, by the way, Dominica has a very nice passports. And you can do this with $50,000. Not a lot of money, especially in comparison. Most citizenship by investment programs, at least the bare minimum, are around $150,000. For example, a lot of the Caribbean countries, which Dominica is, but Dominica has this very interesting opportunity to essentially invest in a business there or start your own for around $50,000 to up to $100,000. Then within a year, you can technically get citizenship here. And again, when you compare this, a country that is much more agile, think about like one of these Caribbean countries as a jet ski. They can turn on a dime. But a country like the US is literally a barge ship. You know how many processes and bureaucracy you have to go through to change something like this? When they start seeing people mass exiting, not out of California to Texas, that's what we're seeing now. The interesting thing is you're starting to see the pot being stirred just within a country. But in my opinion, in the next 5 to 10 years, you're going to see not in the country, but people are going to go, hey, let's go borderless. Why are we in the country that we were born in? Just because nobody chose where they were born. I think so many people don't even think about this. Nobody chose that they were born in the U.S. You don't choose that. That's the luck of the cards. You don't choose that you were born in Afghanistan. You don't choose that you were born in Australia or New Zealand or Tanzania or any of these countries. You have no decision in it. So why do you stay there? That is something that's so important. So many people don't leave their home country. Anyways, sorry. Okay, a little bit of a rant there. Let me see. Border area confliction going on. Yes. Okay. So I do know about that. Yeah. Eastern Ukraine. I will. Are you talking about their border there with Georgia? Or let me know, Irving. When you do the TA course, it would be nice to see you do some lessons specifically on leverage trading. Yes. Okay. That will be. Yes. Okay, so I completely agree. This is one thing with leverage trading is it can be absolutely incredible. It's a truly double-edged sword. You can swing a sword and do a lot of good, but you can swing a sword and do a lot of damage to yourself. Just like nunchucks. You see people with nunchucks, and if they don't know what they're doing, if they don't know the proper risk management, you're going to hurt yourself. And it's the same thing with trading. If you're not trading with a stop loss, you can really hurt yourself. Now, let's say you're starting to trade. I recommend paper trading. Paper trading is very important because you're not putting your capital in, especially if you're just starting. This can be powerful, but yes, I will. That will be covered in the course. He has a channel. Just search his name. Yep. So I know he has a channel. He thinks regulators will start snooping around at the crypto space. This is true. Hoskinson said that the Doge bubble affects the reputation of crypto badly, and the governments will use such bubbles to introduce regulations. Okay, so here's the thing with regulations and cryptocurrencies. This is what I talked about with Turkey. You have to understand, when a country bans something like this, or when it regulates something like this, it actually pushes adoption up, because you can't, they treat it like banning a company, or they treat it like banning let's say, I don't know, a new restaurant opens up, or some new sport opens up in that country, and they say, oh, this is too dangerous, this is not good for people. Really? So you're going to keep the lotteries open, you're going to keep the Powerball open, you're going to keep the casinos open? This is insane. So these things are going to stay open, where people can, they can just risk their money. They're not even investing, they're just purely taking risks. People can still jump out of planes. People can still do all these things in their own rights, their own sovereign rights. But when it comes to investing in an innovative technology, really. Now, the beautiful thing about this is we're in this time where it doesn't matter if a country bans this, because these are decentralized protocols. As long as you have an internet connection, or at least a satellite connection, which, by the way, even if the whole internet goes down on Earth, if there's a complete power lockdown like you see in the movies, this is the beauty of a company like Starlink. This is why I highly recommend, if Starlink IPOs, be very, very on the watch for what's going on there, because, again, if you truly dive into Bitcoin, I'm actually going to make a video, this probably would be like somewhere between a half hour to an hour long, just on Bitcoin. What is it? Why is it important? And starting out with kind of a beginner's basics things on Bitcoins, but then really talking about the details of the network and why this is so beautiful. Talking about the white paper, I highly recommend, if you're in the crypto space, reading assignment is the Bitcoin white paper, because this is something that people talk about. Most people haven't actually read it, but when you read it, you really start to understand, okay, how is this technology going to be shut down? Well, it can't be. It literally cannot be. Even if the full internet is shut down, even if the United States shuts down, even if Canada shuts it down, this is where you start to see, again, this capital market kick in, and you go, one country, let's just say St. Kitts and Nevis or St. Lucia wants it. From there, it can spread. It's just like trying to destroy a beehive by killing one bee. That's what Turkey's doing, or that's what the United States is doing. If the United States tries to shut down Bitcoin, it's like they're trying to chase out one bee and swat the bee and kill the bee. Guess what? There's going to be a new bee in that hive. It's something that's honestly ridiculous, in my opinion, because there is no way to shut down the cryptocurrency market, especially with Bitcoin. And this is the beauty of decentralization, because you see a country like India ban it. Guess what? Do you think the adoption was more or less when India banned Bitcoin or cryptocurrency in general? More. It's pretty clear, because these decentralized protocols, it's not like you're going through KYC. With Uniswap, as long as you have an internet connection, you can connect. Boom, you're set up. With MetaMask, you can connect. Boom, you're set up. This is why I recommend having multiple MetaMask accounts. This is why I talked about with the VPNs and with offshore bank accounts, things like this, with having multiple accounts on something, so you have no single point of failure. Because when you have a single point of failure, you have to stress about something. But when you have multiple bank accounts, especially in multiple different countries, and you have essentially places that you can travel to, even if, let's say, your home country completely shuts down travels and says that you're locked down, well, you have a second residency set up, you can travel there, boom. So let's say, for example, in the UK, a lot of people were commenting before from the UK that on previous videos of mine, kind of on citizenships and residencies, that they're fully locked down and they want to be able to travel. And let's say you have a residency, you can travel. You're set up there. And essentially that residency puts you in a position, you're positioning yourself, just like I talk about in the cryptocurrency markets. You see how these all things kind of work together. When you're positioning yourself with multiple MetaMask accounts or multiple wallets, and you're interacting with different decentralized protocols, you're setting yourself up for airdrops, different projects airdropping different tokens. And you saw Uniswap do this. The Uniswap airdrop in September when I was in Belgrade, Serbia, now worth over $10,000 for doing just one single transaction on Uniswap. So think about that. When you start thinking about, okay, man, this $50 fee or this $25 fee is ridiculous. Well, think about that. If you're using a new decentralized protocol and you see these fees as being ridiculous, think about, okay, maybe I should just do one transaction. Because that $1,000, it was about $1,200 then in September of last year, is now worth over $10,000. And it's the same thing with setting up a second residency, because you're putting yourself in the position for a second passport. Because you can have citizenship by naturalization. There's things like citizenship by descent. So let's say your grandparent was born in a country, and maybe your parents don't talk about it a lot. Well, you can potentially apply for citizenship citizenship by descent. So citizenship by investment, there is citizenship by descent. You have citizenship by naturalization. You have some very, very strange cases where, let's say you do like a heroic act in a country, and like literally like save a life or do something, you can potentially be granted citizenship. But again, these are just how these current markets are set up now. Who knows how they will be in 10, 20, 30 years from now? Think about it is like a referral program. Like if you could bring 100 people into a country, why wouldn't that country want to grant you citizenship? So again, these are just the way these things have been set up. They're all subject to change. You talk about this in like you probably learned it in like middle school or high school, but you have either static characters or you have dynamic characters. And most people have this. It's the same. Like Carol S. Dweck talks about this in a book called Mindset, which is some people have a fixed mindset and some people have a growth mindset. Some people believe that your IQ, your athletic ability, your ability to learn a new instrument or learn a new language is fixed. Some people have this idea that these things are fixed and they can never change them. And this is a massive problem because the truth is it's not even about the growth mindset. It's about realizing what is true. You can improve each of these things every single day. None of these things are fixed. And it applies to literally everything in life. The book sounds so cliche because it's called Mindset, but it's this fixed versus growth mentality is so important to understand because people have this idea that things are so fixed in life, but truly they're on a scale of growth. It depends how much time you invest in something. It depends how much energy you invest in something. If you're just going to have this idea that your ability to understand investing or your ability to understand a new language or learn a new instrument is, my parent couldn't do this or I've never been good at this, so I shouldn't even try. That's horrible. Eliminate that way of thinking. Understand that things are always on a growth scale. You always have the ability to do this, and this is the beautiful thing about life, is you can start from zero. You can start from nothing. You can go bankrupt and you work your way up. And I think this is something that's long been referred to as the American dream, but it's really beyond that. It's the global dream, in my opinion. It's probably not a good name for it, but it truly is the global dream. Like why is it only in America? Why can't someone in Syria or Siberia or again, let's say Kenya, why can't they have the same thing as the American dream? I think that's ridiculous. It actually makes me mad that you think about people still thinking it's like, yeah. Anyways, all right. So let's see. So I'm doing crypto. Any tips on learning resources? Yes. So we have a playlist on the channel on crypto and altcoins. I don't recommend a lot of the top crypto YouTubers. I'm just gonna be straight up honest. Big Boy Crypto, whatever. I think it's great to learn about these things, but again, take these in as informational purposes. With him, he's he kind of has a track record of getting paid from projects and then hyping them up. Yes, it's great to learn from some of these things, but if he does a tutorial on something, but people that I would recommend are, let's see, Crypto Tips, Heidi and, what's his name? Heidi and her boyfriend. Let's see, Karush AK on technical analysis and trading, and Digital Dave, Crazy for Cryptos. Those are three that are just balanced. They have a long track record, and they don't have an extreme bias. I think the problem with a lot of these massive people that are doing, whenever someone has a title that's like emergency blank, or like attention all blank holders, like attention all Bitcoin holders, or all these different like clickbaity titles. It's like, okay, I get it. To get views, this is cool. To make money and to get attention, that definitely factors in. But what's important to understand is it's kind of like just playing on people's emotions at a certain point when every single title of your videos is this. So to this guy who's new in crypto, keep in mind that kind of when you start to see these channels that are going like all capital letters, like alert Bitcoin crashing or alert Bitcoin or Ethereum pumping, any of these things, you should take that in as data and go, wait a second. If this person's saying this exact same thing, if every single video is an alert or a breaking news, this is probably a problem. Like, this is probably not the best person to learn from. Look at this in a long-term perspective. Now, if you're looking to make quick gains, this channel is not for you. I would say those channels that I mentioned are not for you. Go look at someone like Crypto. Now, again, I'm not knocking Crypto or Big Boy at all. Like, I think that what they're doing is great, but when every video is breaking news that something is pumping or something is dumping, it's kind of a problem. To learn actual valuable cryptocurrency lessons, Crypto Tips is a great one. Heidi is very rational on these things. Someone like Box Mining is great. Ivan on Tech I recommend. But yeah, moving on from there. Let me see. Oh, we want a video on the metal detector guy. Yeah, maybe I'll do a video on the metal detector guy at some point. But again, to be 100% honest, it's not exactly legal. So I was kind of I was straying away from talking about this while I was still in the country where I purchased these, because again, these things like should probably be in a museum, to be 100% honest. Like these coins were, you have to understand, these were used as currency thousands of years ago. Again, this Ephesus, this essentially society. This is when it was still Greek. It's near Izmir. Like when I was staying in Izmir, I had a car. I took a car to Ephesus, which is kind of in the middle of nowhere, and then I drove from Ephesus to Kaz in Turkey, stayed there. That's where I did the first live stream, and then from there I kind of bounced around some other places. But it's basically, look up Ephesus. I mean, it's pretty crazy. They have, again, one of the 7 wonders of the world is there, the Temple of Artemis. So that was pretty crazy to see. Yeah, there's a lot of history there. Also, if you know about Giopa Tepe, I still don't know if I'm pronouncing it right, but this is something that's the oldest temple in the world known of. If you know who Graham Hancock is, he talks about this in Turkey. I'll probably be visiting this. There was this older guy from America that I was talking with yesterday when I first arrived here in Cappadocia, and he was talking about going here because, again, this is one of these ancient sites in the world that is it's literally the oldest known civilization is Giopa Tepe, because they essentially buried these pillars underground, and this is how they were able to kind of hide during wars and things like this. But go look that up. It's like Giopa Tepe. I still do not pronounce it quite right, but it's pretty crazy. They talk about it on Ancient Aliens. Graham Hancock is a great historian. Anyways, I'm gonna wrap this up. Let's go here. Let's get it. Okay, so let's go. Okay, when is ancient Greek coin listing on ID? Yeah, maybe I'll take one of those. Again, I can't necessarily show that in this video because yeah, again, like I'm saying, this is one of those things where it's like I was hesitant to even talk about it on this channel, to be completely honest, because I'm always interested in things like this in my free time. I just couldn't help it when this guy said, "Hey, my friend," it's like this really, really old. He's actually technically Armenian Greek guy. He's been collecting these coins. And I was in the car with this guy. Literally, we had to drive away from the main part of Ephesus because there's security cameras and things. And then he has like this whole setup with coins. And he has all these investors that are coming in from all these different countries, like especially New Zealand and Australia in particular, and a little bit in the UK, like people from London that know about him. Like he has nothing online, none of these things. It's purely word of mouth. He has like all these people that are coming in, and like Bill Gates visited, Ephesus. One of the Clintons, I think it was Billy Boy, visited Ephesus, and yeah, so Ahmed, I did talk about that earlier in the live stream, but I can touch on it again here in a second. But anyways, okay, I'll wrap this up. But he has all these big people coming in basically to purchase these coins off him, and because of COVID, I was the first person that had really even spoke with him about these things because I'm curious. I'm always curious, especially in commodities, but in these. There's most of my portfolio in commodities is in bullion. I do invest in some mining stocks and things like this, but with this, I could not pass on the chance. It's like a one in a lifetime opportunity. Now, obviously, I had to authenticate them, but yeah, these are like thousands of years old Greek coins that are absolutely insane. The 2 of them, the main one that I got was like an Alexander the Great pure silver coin, and it was about like 1,500 years old. The other 2 are still I actually got for a nice price. Because, again, he hasn't seen so many people in so long. But they're basically, you can't quite see them. One's the Medusa head, and then one is the owl, which is like, I can't remember the exact Greek god. It might be Artemis. I can't remember. But, again, since one of those same 7 ancient wonders of the world is there in Ephesus, it's basically a situation where there's a lot of, there's so much beauty there. But anyways, okay, moving on. Sorry about this. Okay, are they available? No, they're not. Or yes, okay. I thought you said available. Yes, they're very valuable. I'll just leave it at that. I mean, one of them is, yeah, let's just say, I mean, a crypto project that can do 100x is about the price that I got in these coins. So, he found the first Doge token from yeah, if this guy pulled out a Doge token, I probably would have been a little skeptical. But no, he just had like these genuine coins. And the fascinating thing again is this is his like livelihood. Like he has a family and he supports them literally by doing this. He has access to all of Ephesus, and since this is thousands and thousands and thousands of years old, there's been civilization there, and they've been using these different currencies. Again, you have to go back. This is before paper currencies. You have to understand this. Paper currencies are a fairly new thing in the grand scheme of things. Really, how paper currency started was a claim on gold, a claim on a commodity that has actual value. But in these olden days, you had these different things like gold coins, silver coins, copper coins. And he even had like a small gold one that it was like tiny. You have to understand, like, was a tiny one. I'm like, no. Because with gold, you have to go through this whole process of, I was able to authenticate these other ones, but with gold, it's a bit more complicated. Again, that's for another video. Anyways, yes, they're valuable. You found the first Doge. Are you living in a cave or what, bro? Yeah. Maybe I'm about to wrap this thing up, but I'm here in Cappadocia, and it's basically this ancient city in Turkey that's absolutely beautiful. You can look up pictures of it. I mean, I went on this crazy hike today where it was, yeah. Maybe I'll do this for another video and talk about Cappadocia. But this is like the nicest, basically the nicest hotel in Cappadocia. It's pretty ridiculous. Maybe I'll show you at the end of this live stream. I'll just show you around. Gotta run. Thanks for popping on. What do you think about Turkey bans, cryptocurrency payments? Yeah, okay. So that I talked about earlier in the live stream. Check Oxbow, new platform for IDOs like BSC Pad was $1. Good luck. Okay, I'll look into Oxbow again. When people comment different cryptocurrency projects, it's always a bit. I'm always a bit skeptical because, like, yeah, so some of these projects you have to understand. They have these Telegram groups. That's why I'm a little bit like, that's why I'm not so bullish on Telegram and these kind of private groups, because essentially what these projects do is they tell everyone there that, hey, you most likely, if you're in these groups, you've invested in this project. They say, hey, go out on YouTube, go out on all these social media platforms and comment, check into this project, and that kind of pumps it up. Now, I'm not saying Oxbow has this. I'm just saying there's an inherent bias when anyone comments one of these things. So anyways, okay, last comment. Ikra AK, man, you're my favorite, Ikra. You've been so active in these live streams. I love it. You and who's the other guy? JC. Yeah. Okay. So my family in Turkey does the metal detector thing too. Wow. I'm not allowed to talk to them about it on the phone because it's so illegal. Yeah, it's a pretty crazy thing. That's why, again, in this live stream, I didn't want to go too deep into it. But anyways, that's all for today's video.